What's good, everybody? How you guys doing? I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. Welcome back to episode 5 of the Nick Swisher Show. We've got an amazing episode lined up for y'all, man. I'm telling you. And you know why this week is so amazing? Because it's Thanksgiving week. One of my favorite holidays, man. Be able to eat all the turkey, ham, whatever it is that you love. Be able to spend time with your friends, your family, all your loved ones. Thanksgiving, in my mind, definitely the best holiday we've got. Maybe because it has a little bit of something. I was born on Thanksgiving and my birthday is on Friday this year. 42 years young, y'all. Let's get this, baby. So excited about all that. And speaking of Thanksgiving, I just want to talk a little bit about the things that I'm thankful for. Number one, it has to be my family. I have my beautiful wife, Joanna, my 2 amazing daughters, Emmy and Sailor, as well as all my family that I have around me. Papa Swish, Gammy, you guys mean the world to me. My brother, Mark, he's all the way up in Cleveland, Ohio. His wife, Marissa. Shout out to you guys, man. We'll see you for Thanksgiving. But I also want to talk about my health, right? And the fact that the big man upstairs gave me the ability to walk around every day and live this amazing life. I cannot be more thankful for that. Number 3, it's got to be my close friends. Listen, if I didn't have all these amazing friends in my life, I would not nearly be as accountable as I am today. You guys have turned me into the man that I am, and I can't thank you enough for all your love and support. Number 4, got to be my animals, right? My 4 dogs, my cat, my 2 ponies, my 2 bunnies. We got a hamster up in here. I mean, it's pretty much a zoo with the Swisher household, and I love them to death. I am very grateful and thankful for them. And last but not least, I have to say I'm thankful for this job, right? My job to be able to work for the New York Yankees, the greatest organization on the planet, as well as being able to be here as a podcaster for PodcastOne, to be able to have this amazing platform and to help out each and every week. Even if it reaches one person, then I think we're doing our job, man. We've got an amazing episode lined up for y'all, so let's get right into this right now. The Swishermation for this week is, and I'm going to say it to you right now, it may not make sense right at this moment, but I can promise you after this interview, it's going to make a huge, it's going to be so clear, you're going to understand all of it. To all the dreamers out there, don't ever stop or let the world's negativity disenchant you of your spirit. If you surround yourself with love and the right people, anything is possible. From my man, Adam Green. You may not know what that means now, but I can promise you, as soon as this interview is over, it will make so much sense. Brett, roll that interview for everybody at home, baby. You guys need to hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I could not be more stoked for this interview today, man. Check it. If you knew anything about college football back in the 90s or in the NFL, you've heard about this guy's name, man. This guy is a star quarterback, the greatest quarterback to ever come out of Washington State, bro. He's a Cougar, ladies and gentlemen. He was a Heisman Trophy contender his junior year. Unbelievable accomplishment, man. He was a 2nd pick in the 1998 NFL draft, and he's had quite the story ever since. My guy, now you could catch him a college football analyst, a radio host on Sirius XM. He's a program ambassador for Transcend Recovery Community, which I think is amazing. He's working with PointsBet right now, which is absolutely awesome, bro. You are crushing, and you have your own show, The Straight Line, getting ready to relaunch. Bust on the PodcastOne platform, Rhino. I could not be more happy to have you here, brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, introduce my guy, friend of the show, Mr. Ryan Leaf.
Hey, buddy, it's hard to match your energy. I'll try to match it, but I love being around you. We got a chance to meet a few years back doing some work with Fox, and I've watched you too just continue to climb outside your career when it was all said and done, because that's one of the hardest things to do is transition, find our identity outside that uniform. And so it's been fun to see the success of others. It really has, and it kind of helps build and support what I want to try to keep doing myself. So happy that you found this platform. Excited to be here.
100%, bro. I mean, you and I were both kind of in that same mode. It's like our careers are done. We're trying to find ways to give back. I mean, like you said, man, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. We had the chance to work together a little bit over there on Fox, kind of crossing paths a little bit, man. Are you doing good? What are you up to these days?
So we moved to Connecticut. So we did the East Coast. We lived in LA like you, and we just, ultimately, I wanted my kid to kind of grow up like we did, like with mountains and trees and the outdoors. And so my wife and I we started looking around, and luckily for us, a business opportunity presented itself where I got my own show, and it films in New York. So we found a place in Connecticut. So we're East Coast living now. I've been in since middle of August. It's been a bit of a transition. I'm really, really happy about it. I love not that I didn't love Los Angeles and what it gave me in terms of, when I walked out of prison and everything that it gave me in terms of my recovery and everything like that. But the quiet and calm of I guess, the suburbs of Connecticut, and then the hustle and bustle being in New York City during the week, I think is a really good back and forth for me.
Well, I think the fact that you realize what you and your family needs, bro, I think that's half the battle right there. I think sometimes we get caught in the rat race of just kind of following things that maybe not be the best for us. But listen, bro, I mean, I know you're doing the rounds. You got a lot of awesome new stuff coming out, bro. I could not be more blessed to have you here. But I think people are probably asking you the same shit every week. And they're probably wanting to hear the story of the rise and fall of Ryan Leaf. But I just want you to let you know, homie, that's not why you're here today. You're here today because I don't want to hear about the fall. I don't want to hear about what got you into those modes. What I do want to hear, and that's what why this podcast was created, I want to hear about the comeback. My listeners want to hear about the comeback. We want to hear about the glory that you had to dig into deep to find out why Ryan Leaf of 2022 is sitting here talking to me proud and strong. How did you get there?
Well, it was because of a lot of people. That's for sure. Just like getting me to the NFL was because of a lot of people, right? I think I thought at the time, like, I did all that on my own. But it certainly wasn't the case. There was an individual in prison, my roommate. He was an Iraqi, Afghan war vet, and he had enough of my shit, I guess, my attitude. He felt comfortable enough to confront me one day, and he just said, "Hey, you don't understand the value that you have, Ryan. So I suggest we go down to the prison library and help prisoners who don't know how to read learn how to read." And, at the time, I've had many of those kind of come to Jesus moments from, coaches and mentors and family that were trying to get me right. And I just, I blew it off. And I can't tell you why, Swish, that I was willing to go. I still went begrudgingly. I remember walking down the hallway in prison thinking, this is stupid.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever done. Why am I doing this? Totally.
Doesn't even know how important I am. Like the irony of the guy in a red jumpsuit in a prison hallway thinking he's important is the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my life. But I did it. And I walked into this room where there were 50-year-old men, where you're not supposed to show any vulnerability or transparency, and literally ask for help. Say, "Hey, Ryan, I don't know how to read. Can you help me?" And I just, at first I thought, what the hell's wrong with this dude, right? You and I grew up in locker rooms and in the mountains and cowboy culture, and we never seen other men look at you and say, "Hey, I'm struggling. Can you help me here?"
I need help.
Yeah. So if you've never seen it before, how do you know what to do? And certainly you're taken aback by it. And I just started doing it. I just started helping him read. It's something that you take for granted, right? You learn as a kid. And can you imagine spending your whole life not knowing how to and trying to and deceiving people to try to get through life and
Sure.
to get to that place and to help them go through some of the simplest things and something you take for granted really gave me perspective. And what I found out, it wasn't just the first day. Like, I kept going back. You don't go to the gym one day and wake up the next day and look like The Rock, right? It's about consistency.
Sure.
You got to show up and do the work. And so that's what I did. And I started to sleep better at night, and I was waking up and I was feeling more personable. And what I had found out is I was being of service to another human being for the first time in my life. And I think that I used to believe that what I did on Saturdays and Sundays was me being of service or donating money. Like, money was always a big thing in terms of what I thought service was. And
Sure.
This was just a fellow human being, a flawed fellow human being in a very adversarial place, together trying to help one another. And that's what service ultimately was defined for me. And that was the foundation. So when I got out, I knew it could never be about me again. It had to be about other people. And so it never meant that I had to be famous again, or never meant that anybody would ever have to know about any of that either, as long as I just did it and removed myself from the equation. So that's how I did it. Or at least that's how I started doing it. And and it's continued to blossom, and it's continued to get bigger and better. You know, family, work, all of it. And it's not like I had any of that stuff though, too. Like I go and talk in prisons a lot, and I talk to the inmates, and I think they all, you know, initially they look and they go, well, it's easy for you when you got out because, you know, you're a former, you know, famous former football player, and you had all that money and all that stuff. And I have to bring them back down to earth pretty quick. Like when I walked out, like December 3rd, 2014, I had nothing, bro. I had no money. I'd blown it all. I had no job. Like I work for the Disney Corporation and ESPN now, and like Mickey Mouse wasn't sitting out there when I walked out and went, "Hey, Ryan, come on over, work for me." You know, that shit that wasn't there. I didn't have any of that. Like I did not know what to do. There was no job, there was no money, I had no idea. So it's just one step in front of the other. And it started with being of service. I started going down to the soup kitchen and the mission, and I went to my storage facility. I was sponsored by Nike, and I had a bunch of stuff in storage, and I packed them up in duffel bags, and I took them down to the mission. And I was like, if anybody was in Great Falls, Montana during the winter of 2014, like you saw the most swagged out the most swagged out homeless population you can imagine, walking around in Jordan brand and shit. I mean, it was funny as hell, but I mean, none of that, all that stuff was so important to me. You remember when we were as players, just having the gear, the shoes, all the things that added to your identity and importance. And it still was something I held on to. And I remember, you know, going through all that stuff thinking, well, do I want to keep this? And I'm like, you don't need to keep any of this shit, man. Like this is going to close somebody. That's a different thought process. So that's where it started. That's where it started. Nothing, anything. And it just was one step in front of the other. And it started with me asking for help myself. And that's where this all started from.
The fact that you even got to that point it's got to be such a powerful moment. And I guess I need to know, now that we're talking about it, when was that day? I mean, other than when, your roommate talked to you, I mean, at some point you had gotten yourself in a path of just things just going the wrong way. It is crazy when you pull yourself out of the equation and you get out of your own fucking way, how magnificent you actually can be. And I think you sitting here today is the Ryan Leaf, is the real Ryan Leaf. And to be able to come to that moment to know that you need help. I mean, bro, that's what this is all about. That word vulnerability has popped up in my world so much over the last couple of years. And the fact that a man is sitting across from me right now at 6'5", 250 pounds in a vulnerable setting, like, cuz that just doesn't happen very often. The fact that you were man enough. I remember Jason Kendall back in the day. He was, obviously one of my favorite players. And I remember him saying, the toughest man is the one that can walk away from the fight. And I used to think being the tough guy was the way to do it. But now that I'm 41, a father of 2 daughters, brother, I realize that the toughest man is the man that can come to grips with his emotions. And that's exactly what you did. Do you remember when that thought popped in there, like, holy shit, bro, I need to make a change, and I need to make that change now?
I don't think I ever did. And I don't think you ever really truly do in the moment. Like I can look back on it now and go, okay, that's where the acceptance piece started to happen. But I was in a place of like, I'm just going to spend the rest of my life in here. I'm cool with that. Like, no responsibility. I'm not wrecking havoc on my family. I'm not victimizing my community. This is perfect. This is perfect. And that's a scary thought, like, to be okay. And it's a big reason why we're the most heavily populated prison system in the entire world, is because it's not a deterrent, right? It's just another society. And so I was okay with it. And I think I just luckily had a guardian angel on my shoulder. I wasn't super religious, and I'm not still. I've become incredibly spiritual and understand that there was something bigger than me out there guiding me through the process. It placed, first off, the sheriff's department in my path to save my life. And then, this roommate that I got, who, he literally ended up being the guardian angel, because what he gave me was a path. Like he taught me how to fish, right? I mean, that's the storyline, right? I can bring you fish every day for my day, or I can teach you how to fish, and you can, won't go hungry the rest of your life type of mentality. And he taught me how to fish. He taught me how to make my life better by making it about other people. And I don't think he knew what he was doing at the time. I don't at all. I think he wanted me to help tutor him to pass his ACTs when he got out.
Like, look at what he did for you, right? Like, if you think about it, I helped you pass and read, bro. You helped me become the man that I am today, bro. My dad, he always preaches about telling somebody they're special or telling somebody how special they are. And people, I feel like even some of the times when I tell people that, sometimes you just take it for granted. Like what you're doing is like, it is what it is. But you really don't know how you can really affect somebody's life, cuz, and your firsthand, example A, how an individual, you had no idea who the fuck he was, where he came from, his background, the whole night. I don't even know what this cat looked like. All I know is that he told you that you were special and that you could do something great, and look exactly what you're doing now, bro. It's like, if my dad was here, bro, I'd be like, you're the smartest man that I know, bro, because it's such a simple thing as telling somebody that they're special and that they could do something great, and look how your life has turned around.
Well, I also think that I think it's important, especially after you've been beat to the ground. Like you and I got told that our whole lives. We got placed on this pedestal. When people told us how special we were, it was just around something we did. It wasn't necessarily around who we were. Like when I'm helping this person go through this process, like there's no media attention. No one knows it's happening. No one cares. I'm not doing it for any ulterior motive than other to make his life and as it turns out, my life better. So I think that's a big part of it too, that, you know, it's what happens when, you know, the chips are down. And for me, you know, I had a bunch of people that hung on when the chips were up, when they were stacked. And then when they were no longer there, I mean, you find out who your friends are pretty damn quick.
Fast. It is crazy, bro. When you're on top of that mountain, it seems like you got everybody right there behind you. You quickly realize when you hit the snide, you hit the shit, that those people leave real fast. But I think that also just tells you who the people you are that you need to have in your life. I mean, I feel like that's my next question I have. Bro, this could not be like the better interview right now. It's like falling right into place. How important is it to have the right people in your life, especially now? Like keeping you on the path. You talked about he gave you a path. Who are those individuals now that keep you on your path?
Yeah, I found a group. You know, I found a group of about 5 guys that had what I wanted, right? They had the unchaotic, successful life that I wanted. So this was a hard thing to admit, but like, I don't make proper choices. I don't make proper decisions. My best thinking took me to a prison cell. So I don't. People, you know, shudder at that thought. Man, dude, you made it to the NFL. You became a million. All this stuff. Yeah, but my best thinking took me to a prison cell. So I don't make the proper choices. So I need help there. So I got these 5 guys. I call them my board of directors. They are my board of directors.
Talk to me, bro.
I'm the chairman. Ultimately, I make the choice, but they guide me, and I go to them with large choices, small choices, just to help me have a sounding board. And they've been incredibly inspirational and supportive and fundamentally sound for me moving forward. And so, yeah, I call them Ryan's board of directors. There's 5 dudes that have lives that I want. And so I kind of follow their advice verbatim, and I have ever since I walked out of that prison cell, and I'll continue to do so, regardless of how, you know, how good people may think my life has become. Right? You're your dad. You know how we fuck up all the time, still, all the time, and so it's like real life. I mean, this is real life, and when you are known, when people know you, and you go through things in the public eye, I think it gets glossed over for what it really is. And it's important with the platforms that you and I have that we talk about the real things, that, like, yes, we choose to be happy. We choose to be excited. We choose to be positive, but doesn't mean we don't go through the same things that other people do. So a lot of times what you see on Instagram or what you see out in public, you know, that isn't necessarily what real life is. It's a microcosm of what it is. And we're here to kind of give you the real talk behind it when we can.
I just love the fact you're so open about this stuff, bro. But I feel like you had to take the necessary steps to get you past that. I feel like that was probably the hardest part, was actually coming to grips with all these things you're talking about, understanding maybe the decisions I make aren't as good as I think they are, or maybe the people in my life aren't as good as the people I might think they are. But to be able to come up with that and to be able to do that on your own, bro, is huge, bro. I mean, just like, I wish I could give you a hug, bro, for like making the steps that you have, because not everybody can make those steps.
No, they can't. And sometimes they're, especially with individuals who are dealing with mental health and substance use issues, they may no longer be here, right? I mean, that's
Right.
the bigger story in all this. There's a bunch of my brothers who played in the NFL who I think would have an incredibly more impactful stories than mine. Like there's survivor's guilt with me a lot of time. Like, why am I here? And let's say my teammate in San Diego, Junior Seau, is right.
Sure.
The impact that he could have because of the greatness that was him. So I find it hard sometimes, and that's where the purpose comes from. Like, I understand there's something bigger than me out there that's driving this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, right? There was no reason why I should have made it to the NFL. The odds were so stacked against me, and there's no reason why I should still be alive right now to be able to do this with you. So knowing that, fully accepting that, and understanding that makes it a necessity to share my story, to have the conversation, the difficult conversation with people, and know that you're doing your part.
Yeah.
I will say this: when we do this, we need to kind of stay out of the result, because that's all we can control, right? There have been issues and instances where I've worked with people that, they just haven't got it yet. And they have to be humbled like I did. I had to be humbled in a way where I had to wake up on a prison cell floor. That's, most people figure it out. They grow up, they mature, they figure it out.
Sure.
It took a humbling in a different manner for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you were talking about, listen, I mean, I feel like everybody wants to know your story. Everybody wants to ask you about your story. But I guess when did you know, or when did you dig deep enough that you felt comfortable talking about your story, that you felt comfortable telling the Ryan Leaf story, bro? I know that was a huge thing to overcome. When did that happen for you? Because I'm sure that shifted your whole life in a separate direction.
Well, it did. I mean, I was more than happy to kind of like just disappear and maybe get a job at McDonald's and just,
Sure.
but you know, being drafted alongside arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play in Peyton Manning, being around right when the internet started crashing and burning the way I did, my name's not going to go away. Every April, the draft happens. It's not going to. So if it's not going to, then I need to take the power back from it. And how do I do that? It's to share my story. And one of those board of directors kind of took me under his wing and showed how to share my story in a way that didn't glorify or belittle or less than what really went on, but more to make it transparent and vulnerable, so that the person that's listening feels like there's a real connection and there's a relatability that allows for it to have that kind of impact. And so, it was the first time he took me. I went in front of a group full of kids at a school. It was a very kind of well-off school. I think it was Crossroads there in LA.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So there was a very entitled piece to it, and to go in and tell my story in the fashion that was there to try to help those kids. It was really interesting, and it really showcased really early on, like, okay, if we help one person in this room, that's all that we're here for, right? The rest of the people may walk out of there and go, that dude's full of shit. But there might be one person in there who has a family member or themselves going through what they are going through, that it will allow them to know that there's a solution, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel if you choose to do things differently. And so that was the start. And that was, I don't know, that was probably 6 years ago or so. And it's become really the foundation of everything else I get to do, especially around the sporting world and the broadcasting aspect of things, like, doesn't exist if it weren't for the foundation of that piece. And so I continue to do it. I probably travel the country and speak, 20 to 30 times a year doing that. And that's the bread. That's what fuels me and allows for me to do all these other cool things and be great and be all grateful for it, because it wouldn't exist if it weren't for that.
Well, if there's anybody you affected, cuz you affected me today for sure. I feel like there's so many people that are listening to this that are going to walk away with a different perspective of who Ryan Leaf is. And brother, that's because you put the fucking work in and you went to work on yourself. Look at you now, bro, standing tall, strong, proud. You're working, you got your own show now, bro. Like, you're relaunching your podcast. Like, I'm not like blowing smoke. I'm just saying, bro, like, you did that. Like you picked yourself up when nobody else would. You realize the changes you need to make, bro. And because of your story, my man, you will help so many people, bro. You've been
And
absolutely incredible. Story is something that everyone needs to hear because it's a story of redemption as well. And the biggest thing that I'm taking away from this is I might need my inner circle. I might need to build a circle that can support me, regardless of the things that are going on in my life, things that I feel that I can bring things to bounce ideas off of or talk to, because it's worked so great for you. What is it called again? Your five guys?
the board of directors, man.
Board of directors, baby. And find the power in telling your story. Ladies and gentlemen, be proud of who you are, regardless of your ups and downs. I got a guy here who is standing taller and stronger and prouder than he's ever been. And we could not be blessed to have him, because we can all share our story to help others. And that's exactly what this is all about. And Ryan is living proof that we can share our story to help others, regardless of what's going on. Ryan, I love you, bro. I'm so proud of where you are in your life. I'm so proud of the things you're doing. I'm so proud that you're happy. I mean, look at you, bro. You got a smile on your face now. You're through the shit. You're going to continue to keep being awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us today, brother. You're going to help a whole lot of people along the way.
So are you. I appreciate the opportunity, and keep kicking ass, man. And we'll hopefully see each other soon in the future.
Sounds like a plan, bro. I can't wait to get, ladies and gentlemen, check out The Bust, the podcast, bro. Ryan Leaf coming out on PodcastOne platform. My guy's all over the place. The Straight Line on PointsBet, the whole thing, bro. He's all over the place. Ryan, love you, brother. Take care of yourself, man. I'll check you real soon, okay?
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, baby.
Hey, everybody. Ryan Leaf here. We are about to drop 3 bonus episodes for my podcast, Bust, the Ryan Leaf Story, the most honest, transparent, and vulnerable podcast you will hear. Me in front of a microphone taking you through the start to the finish, right here on PodcastOne.
Man, what a great interview. There's a lot of things to take away from that interview, but I think one of the biggest takeaways is that we all need a circle of support around us, dude. No doubt about it. People that are invested in our individual success. And of course, we naturally will have that circle of friends and family like we had when we were younger. But I think there's something interesting about getting a little older, right? Because that circle as a child is big, but as we get older, it slowly starts to shrink a little bit. And guess what? That's okay. Because all we're trying to do is weed out the shit in our life, bring the best people in that can form our board of directors, as Ryan Leaf says, dude. Absolutely amazing interview. There's so many things to take away, but I think that's one of the biggest things that I'll take away. Now, on to one of my favorite segments of the show. People are fucking rad. Here we go. Let's get this, dude. I want to send a lot of love out to my guy, Jess, dude. If you haven't heard about this guy, my guy, Jess, goes out rain or shine and plays a beautiful rendition of Taps each and every morning for his fallen comrades, dude. I'm telling you, man. Jess, for you remembering everyone as well as your service in the military to give us what we have in the United States of America. Jess, you are fucking rad. All right, next, dude, I got to let you know about my guy, Tim the Lawnmower Man. If you haven't checked this guy out on Instagram, please go and do that. This guy will absolutely pull at your heartstrings. My guy, Tim, is going around to different homes that look like they haven't had any yard work done in maybe a decade, and he is charging these people absolutely nothing. He takes these rags to riches yard that are absolutely horrible and just turns them out looking absolutely immaculate. And I'm telling you what, Tim, for your charitable acts, this makes you, my man, fucking rad. Listen, and speaking of charging nothing for a job, my guy, James Anderson, is a plumber from England, right? He went viral for not charging a 91-year-old terminally ill customer for the fixes she needed on her home. Listen, and that's all cool and dandy to help out one person, but come to find out, my guy James has been doing this shit for years, dude. During the pandemic, he has helped over 17,000 people, anything heating or plumbing related. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Listen, James, I think sometimes people don't always want the credit, because you're going to get a little bit of that love here from us today. Keep doing what you're doing, bro, because we got a whole lot of love from you all the way over here in the United States. And for what you're doing, my man, and your charitable acts, brother, this makes you fucking rad. And last but not least, this is the best one we got for us today, y'all. Coach Jim Calipari. If you don't know who Coach Cal is, he is the head basketball coach at Kentucky, and he is absolutely amazing, and my guy sees it all. My guy is so tuned in that he saw a fan in the stands that looked like he came straight out of the coal mines to come watch his team play. Come to find out, that's exactly what this man did. And because Coach Calipari comes from a coal mining family, he knows exactly what that uniform looks like. Clarksburg, West Virginia, no doubt about it. My man, Coach Cal, hooked up this hardworking dude, Michael McGuire, his wife, his 2 kids, with a VIP treatment, man. Food and drinks, the whole shebang. The family sat right behind the team on the floor, which I thought was absolutely amazing. Coach Cal, you are absolutely fantastic, my man. And for what you're doing for all the hardworking people out there and truly noticing their hard work, this makes you fucking rad, man. Wow. Hey, listen, so there's a lot of people out there that are asking me how I'm finding these stories, right? Listen, some I get from the internet, but most of them are coming from the DMs that you guys send me directly to @the Nick Swisher Show on Instagram. So if you know someone, right, that's fucking rad out there and you want to nominate them, please send them our way and we will give them all the love that they deserve. All right, here we go. Bing, bing, bing. Call to action. Getting back to that interview with my guy, Ryan Leaf. Here we go. This is what the call to action is this week. Find your circle. Find your board of directors. Listen, it takes a village to get to where you want to go in this world. And if you think you can do things on your own, you're fucking crazy. Find the people who are invested in your individual success and want nothing but the best for you, not for other people, but for you. But these people aren't just yes people. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear all the time. These people will be honest with you and call you out on your bullshit, just like Tom Brady did with Antonio Brown. That is a true friend. That is somebody you want to have in your board of directors circle. Find the real people in your life, and I can promise you that your rise to the top or your rebound will be so much faster, man. No doubt about it. Man, hey, next week, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our first female guest of the show. Could not be more excited to bring her on. She is one of my favorites. You know her from TV, maybe from a little Hallmark, and you definitely know her from the podcast, The Lady Gang. She's absolutely amazing, y'all. We sit down and have an unbelievable heart-to-heart on becoming a new mom, how mom guilt is real, and why it's not always good to rely on the internet for parental guidance, dude. I'm telling you, man. I'm not going to tell you who this woman is, bro. You're going to have to find out next Tuesday, same time, same place. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And like we always say at the end of each show, spread some love this week, y'all. Peace out.